Thank you for checking out this little teaser of the history of the papacy and church. Here's a little taste of what's coming up soon on the History of the Papacy podcast. Now, if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. If you want to support the podcast even more, consider becoming a Patreon on patreon.com/history of the papacy. There are many levels and benefits for you, and you help keep the history of the papacy going. You can learn more about all of this at historyofthepapacypodcast.com. With that, here's another piece of the mosaic of the popes of Rome and Christian church, and I will definitely be talking to you more soon. Why different numbers? Why 137, 136? And really, that's complicated. And how that really comes down to is that there was the Septuagint version of the Old Testament and the Masoretic version of the Old Testament. And if I'm not mistaken, Jews, for the most part, use the Masoretic text. And most Protestants, you can never say anything precise with the Protestants because there'll always be one that proves you wrong. Older Catholic Bibles, like the Douay-Rheims, they use the Septuagint, which was based on the Vulgate Latin version done by Jerome all the way back in the 300s, 400s. I should have written a long time ago, antiquity. And there's some Catholic Bibles now translated into English will use the Masoretic text or some blending thereof. That's a really controversial issue in the Roman Catholic Church. Orthodox Christians exclusively use the Septuagint version for the most part. You can always tack on for the most part at the end of it. It's interesting, the chapter and verse distinctions didn't exist until the Middle Ages and into the early modern period, except the Psalms, of course. And interestingly enough, both the Masoretic text and the Septuagint have 150 Psalms. It's just that some Psalms get sliced and diced a certain way in the Masoretic text that they don't get sliced and diced in the Septuagint version, vice versa. And by some coincidence, they both just wind up at 150.